To understand the mindset, you must through the awakening. You can always tell when someone is trading like a gambler. Their energy is frantic. Their eyes jump from candle to candle. Their pulse rises with every tick. Their entire identity swings with every trade. Confident when a candle goes green, devastated when it turns red. They sit at the screen not as a strategist, but as a desperate player, hoping luck finally decides to show mercy. And then there are the professionals. Calm, measured, detached. They sit in the same chair, look at the same charts, face the same uncertainty, but their mind is wired differently. Their heartbeat doesn't change, their decisions don't shake, and win or lose, they walk away the same person. The difference isn't the strategy. It isn't intelligence. It isn't years of experience. It's mindset. A mindset forged through frustration, mistakes, and brutal honesty. The mindset I'm about to show you. But first, let me take you back to the beginning. The place where every trader starts. The gambler stage. No one escapes that phase. Not me, not you, not the legends whose names appear in books. Every trader begins as a gambler. The tragedy is that most stay there forever. The gambler inside you is the voice saying, "Take one more trade. Maybe this setup will work. This time it'll be different. I can make back the loss. Just one big win and everything will change." It feels logical in the moment, but it's a trap. A trap designed by your own brain. Because gamblers don't understand risk. Gamblers don't understand data. Gamblers don't understand probability. What they understand is hope, and hope is a terrible trading strategy. Now listen carefully. You didn't come to the markets for excitement. You think you did. You think you came for freedom, for money, for the life you imagine in your dreams. But deep down, the emotional spark that got you hooked on trading wasn't freedom. It was stimulation. The blinking candles, the constant movement, the dopamine of being right, the adrenaline of risking something real. Those sensations pull you in long before you ever learn what a stop-loss is. And that's why the gambler mindset is so dangerous, because it feels good. It feels alive. It feels like progress. It feels like you're doing something instead of waiting. But what feels good in trading usually destroys you. Professionals know this. Gamblers don't. That's why gamblers chase the market, and professionals let the market come to them. I remember a trader I mentored years ago, a young guy named Eric. He had all the signs of a gambler. He traded every hour, he switched strategies every week, he got emotional over every tick, he couldn't sit still when the chart was quiet. He was addicted to action. One day he told me, "I can't stand being out of the market. I feel useless." Useless. Think about that word. To him, discipline felt like failure. Patience felt like wasting time. Not trading felt like being left behind. He didn't want consistency. He wanted stimulation. And that's when I knew he wasn't a trader yet. He was a gambler pretending to be a trader. Because a professional never feels useless for waiting. They feel confident. They feel powerful. They feel in control. To a gambler, waiting feels like torture. To a pro, waiting feels like strength. Eric wasn't ready to hear that, but the market taught him anyway. I remember the day his turning point began. He had been on a losing streak, the kind that hits harder than any single loss, the kind that shakes your confidence, the kind that makes the voice in your head scream, "You're not good enough. You'll never make it. This isn't for you." That morning, he messaged me. I blew the account. Again. But this time, his tone was different. There was no panic, no excuses, no "the market tricked me" or "my broker is terrible." Just exhaustion. That's when a trader is ready to learn. Not when they're excited, but when they're broken enough to listen. The winning mindset is almost impossible to teach to someone who hasn't suffered yet, because pain strips away illusions. Pain forces truth. Pain kills the gambler. And inside that silence, the silence that follows the chaos of a blown account, that's where real trading begins. When Eric came to me humbled, I asked him one question. Why do you trade? He said, to make money. I said, wrong. Everyone wants to make money, but traders who survive know something deeper. You trade to protect money. Then you make it. Gamblers try to win fast. Professionals try not to lose stupidly. And that's when I told him the truth. You don't trade for excitement. You don't trade for adrenaline. You trade for survival. Pros don't trade to feel alive. They trade so they don't die. He didn't understand at first, but he would. Because here's the hard truth that gamblers avoid facing. Trading is not supposed to be exciting. It's supposed to be boring. It's supposed to be repetitive. It's supposed to be systematic. It's supposed to feel like work. Gamblers want fireworks. Professionals want probability. Gamblers want speed. Professionals want longevity. Gamblers want to be right. Professionals want to be profitable. The winner's mindset begins the moment you accept this. You are not in the excitement business. You are in the survival business. Because trading isn't about catching big moves. It's about avoiding stupid mistakes. The winners you admire, the consistent traders, the legends, they don't think like gamblers. They don't stare at every tick. They don't trade because they're bored. They don't rush into the market out of fear they'll miss something. They wait. And when the opportunity comes, they act with calm, emotionless precision. This is where the mindset shift begins, in the understanding that patience is a weapon, discipline is a shield, and emotional control is the bridge between strategy and execution. But let me tell you the truth that hurts. You cannot think like a professional while addicted to the thrill of gambling. Your brain is wired for stimulation, not consistency. Your mind is shaped by impulses, not logic. Consistency is built on the parts of your brain that gamblers never use, the parts that accept loss, tolerate boredom, embrace structure, and stay neutral in uncertainty. But gamblers crave the opposite: risk, chaos, dopamine. So the question becomes, how do you transform your mind? How do you kill the gambler and awaken the professional? It starts with recognizing one thing. You cannot become consistent while chasing emotional highs. The winner's mindset requires emotional neutrality, the ability to treat a win and a loss equally, to react to the market without reacting emotionally inside, to execute rules without questioning your worth based on the result. Professionals don't feel proud when they win. They don't feel ashamed when they lose. They don't dance around after profit. They don't collapse after drawdowns. They stay centered, always. But gamblers? Their emotions spike with every tick. They're in a constant war with themselves. So before we dive deeper into the true mental frameworks of professional traders, I need to tell you something most people never realize. You are not fighting the market. You are fighting the part of you that craves chaos, the part that wants excitement over execution, the part that wants quick wins over slow progress, the part that wants to feel alive, not be disciplined, the part that craves validation, not mastery, the part that would rather gamble and feel something than follow rules and feel nothing. This is the enemy, and this enemy lives inside you. Professionals didn't conquer the market, they conquered themselves. That is the true test, the real transformation. And in the next part, we will go deeper into the wiring of the gambler's brain, into the illusions that trap you, and the exact mental rewiring that turns an emotional, inconsistent trader into a calm, strategic, professional thinker. The gambler's brain is not evil. It's not your enemy because it hates you. It's your enemy because it's trying to protect you, just in the wrong way. Your brain evolved for survival, not trading. It evolved to avoid pain, not manage probabilities. It evolved to chase rewards quickly, not wait patiently for statistical edges to unfold. And if you don't understand this, you'll keep fighting yourself in ways you don't even see. When you see a candle move fast, your brain screams, "Get in now before it's too late." That's fear of missing out, a survival instinct. When your trade goes slightly into profit, your brain whispers, "Take the money. What if it reverses?"
That's pain avoidance, a survival instinct. When your trade goes into drawdown, your brain panics. Hold it! Maybe it will come back. I can't accept this loss. That's loss aversion, a survival instinct. But trading punishes survival instincts. Trading punishes emotional decisions. Trading punishes action that comes from fear or hope instead of structure and probability. Professionals know this. Gamblers don't. A gambler thinks, I need this trade to work. A professional thinks, this trade means nothing. Only the next 100 matter. A gambler thinks, this setup looks good. I feel confident. A professional thinks, my edge is present. Execute mechanically. A gambler reacts to the outcome. A professional reacts to the process. And that's where the real shift happens, when the outcome stops defining you. If you feel excited when you win and ashamed when you lose, understand this. You are still operating in the gambler's mindset. Professionals don't attach emotion to outcomes, not because they don't care, but because they know caring too much destroys consistency.
A win doesn't make them heroes. A loss doesn't make them failures. Both are part of the same game, the game of probabilities over time. The professional mindset is built on this. One trade means nothing. The series means everything. Think about that. Reflect on it. Breathe it in. One trade doesn't define your future. One trade doesn't determine your trajectory. One trade doesn't validate or invalidate your skill. Only the series does. Only the execution over weeks, months, years does. Gamblers can't think in series. They think in moments. They think in all or nothing. They think in, I need to win now. Professionals think in, next 1,000 trades. This is why a professional can take the same setup hundreds of times without hesitation. It's not about belief. It's not even about confidence. It's about statistical acceptance. They know the edge wins over time. They know losses are part of the cost. They know personal opinion means nothing. They know the market owes them nothing. They simply execute. But here's the real turning point. Before you can think like a professional, you have to admit you've been trading like a gambler. Because gamblers are not just impulsive. They are emotionally attached to uncertainty. To a gambler, the market is a source of emotional stimulation. To a professional, the market is a place of opportunity and risk, balanced by rules. Let me tell you something that will change how you see this game forever. Professionals are boring. Gamblers are emotional. One survives, the other gets wiped out. The winner's mindset begins when you choose boredom over excitement, structure over impulse, data over hope. And that journey, the shift from gambler to professional, is one of the most painful transitions a human can experience, because it requires killing the emotional part of yourself that loves chaos. It requires destroying the identity that seeks validation from the market. It requires letting go of the fantasy of fast profits and embracing the reality of slow, disciplined growth. I once coached a trader named Marcus. He had been studying charts for 5 years, backtesting for 2, practicing every night. But every time he went live, he destroyed himself. Not because he didn't know what to do, but because he didn't believe he could do it. One day he said to me, I follow the plan perfectly, until it matters. Until it matters. That phrase hit me harder than any lesson I had learned, because that's the truth. Most traders can follow their plan when nothing is at risk, but when real money enters the equation, the mind changes, the emotional brain wakes up, the gambler wakes up. Marcus wasn't fighting the market, he was fighting his own belief system. He didn't trust his edge, he didn't trust his process, and most importantly, he didn't trust himself. And this is where the winner's mindset becomes rare, because trusting yourself requires something gamblers never do: acceptance. Acceptance of uncertainty, acceptance of loss, acceptance of imperfection, acceptance of randomness, acceptance that you can do everything right and still lose. Gamblers can't accept this. Professionals live by it. To think like a winner, you must understand a paradox. The more control you try to force on the market, the more you lose. The more control you place on yourself, the more you win. Professional traders control their behavior. Gamblers try to control the outcome. This is why gamblers chase losses, why gamblers revenge trade, why gamblers refuse to take stops, why gamblers force trades out of boredom, why gamblers close early out of fear. The professional mindset removes the illusion of control.
It accepts randomness. It accepts variance. It accepts probabilities. And because of that, it becomes powerful. Professionals don't need the market to move. They don't need to trade every day. They don't need excitement. They don't need constant action. They only need one thing: the discipline to wait for their edge. If you ask a gambler what their edge is, they can't answer. If you ask a professional, they answer in seconds. Because gamblers trade emotions, professionals trade rules. Think of it this way. A gambler asks, "How much can I make?" A professional asks, "How much can I lose while staying in the game?" A gambler increases risk after winning. A professional decreases risk after winning. A gambler is destroyed by drawdowns. A professional plans for drawdowns. A gambler trades for excitement. A professional trades for survival. This is the winner's mindset, and it's built, not born. You aren't born disciplined. You aren't born patient. You aren't born emotionally neutral. No one is. These are trained traits, forged traits, traits developed through pain, failure, humility, and relentless repetition. The gambler mindset often collapses after a single losing streak. The professional mindset emerges only after the trader says, "This pain is not a sign to quit, it's a sign to evolve." You see, most traders quit not because they lack potential, but because they misinterpret struggle as failure. Professionals know the truth. Struggle is part of evolution. Discomfort is part of mastery. Confusion is part of clarity. Loss is part of profit. A gambler avoids pain. A professional grows from it. This is why the winner's mindset doesn't emerge when you're winning, but when you hit the bottom and refuse to stay there. Let me tell you about one of the most powerful moments I've witnessed. A trader I coached named Sam was on the verge of quitting. He had gone through 6 months of disciplined execution with almost no results. His equity curve was flat, his confidence was broken, his belief was fading. One night, he sent me a long message. "I think I'm just not built for this. I follow everything, but nothing seems to change." I read it, I took a deep breath, and I told him the truth. You're in the incubation period. This is the stage every consistent trader goes through. The stage where effort rises, but results don't. This is where gamblers quit. This is where professionals are born. He didn't understand at first, but he trusted the process. He stayed consistent. He kept following the plan. And then, after months of stagnation, his curve lifted. Slowly, steadily, predictably. Not because his strategy changed, not because the market changed, but because he changed. He killed the gambler in him. And once that happens, everything shifts. There is a moment in every professional trader's journey where something clicks. A moment where the market stops feeling like an opponent and becomes a landscape of probabilities, a field of opportunity, a place where emotion no longer dictates action. If you haven't experienced that shift yet, don't worry, you will. As long as you stop thinking like a gambler, as long as you stop chasing excitement, as long as you stop needing to be right, as long as you stop attaching self-worth to outcomes and start thinking like a professional. Slowly, calmly, objectively, patiently, consistently. Because the winner's mindset is not a trick or a motivational phrase, it's a transformation. A transformation from reaction, execution, hope, probability, impulsiveness, structure, ego, discipline, emotion, logic, gambling, professionalism. And once this transformation happens, once you learn to think like a professional, once you stop trading to feel alive and start trading to survive, that's when you become dangerous. That's when the market stops bullying you. That's when your strategy finally works. That's when consistency appears. That's when you evolve into the trader you were supposed to become. And here is the truth that ties everything together. Professional traders are not more talented. They are more trained. Not more confident, more consistent. Not more fearless, more accepting. Not more lucky, more disciplined. You don't need a new indicator. You don't need a new strategy. You don't need more excitement. You don't need a magic formula. You need the winner's mindset, the mindset that trades for survival, not stimulation, the mindset that respects risk, not romance, the mindset that values patience over profit, the mindset that knows success is not built in a day, but in thousands of disciplined decisions. This is what separates professionals from hopeful gamblers. This is what separates consistency from chaos. This is what separates the winners from the ones who almost made it. And now, the question becomes, are you ready to stop gambling and start thinking like a professional? Because your future in this game depends on the next thought you choose, not the next trade.